All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Home to the cradle of basketball, the rise of football, greatest spectacle in racing. This is All Indiana Sports presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Knicks came out swinging and didn't let up. Nothing was falling for the Pacers, but the refs certainly sided with the home team. There are still 2 more games to close it out, so we will discuss what needs to happen to bring it home. So, let's go all in.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam, and we are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports Networks.
Yep.
Let's get into it.
First
Here we
things
go.
first. Crazy. I looked at the free throws, and it was more favored towards Indiana, which I was like, that's weird. Because not again. No, not again. So it was weird because it felt like the Knicks got all the calls whenever it mattered the most, but Indiana has more. So
it really felt like there was one in particular play where Siakam just got hammered on one side, and there was a fast break on the other side, and Hart barely, if at all, got touched, and he got the call. That pretty much kind of summed up the idea that we're talking about here, that it was not consistent.
Yes.
Not consistent.
And I don't mind it. I don't mind it if there's a lot of fouls called. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a fun game to watch because there's so many free throws. But if it's called both ways, and the thing is, it's not being called both ways. It's not being called evenly, because I wanted to say fair, but fair is not really a real thing. It's even. They weren't being called even on both sides of the court, and that was really frustrating.
Consistency. All I care about is consistency.
Because if it's just the shot's not falling or something like that, then that's different. You can't really you can't complain unless it's you can complain, but that's just your team. You can't do anything about it. It's the refs that are this, so it's just frustrating. And
speaking of the shots not falling,
yeah. So I looked at it earlier. Field goal percentage was 40 and a half to 49 in pretty much a half. So a full 9% difference, which is not normal. The Pacers shot the 3 ball better, though. Shot it better than the Knicks, but the points in the paint were just so much. It was 34.
We're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get to that. That's a separate issue. But, yeah, we talked about while the game was going on. It wasn't even that because, of course, it's all about the Knicks, right? And so everything is from the Knicks' perspective on the media. And so look at how the Knicks are shutting down the Pacers. No, the Pacers were getting good open looks off of good ball movement for the most part, but nothing was falling.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't hitting. That's as simple as it was. Please, 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 if you are part of the national media, stop saying that the Knicks lost or the Knicks won. This series is in the hands of the Pacers. Like it or not, you can refute that as much as you want. But the series, this entire playoffs, has been in the hands of the Pacers. And so for you to bend this narrative around the Knicks is absolutely ludicrous and shows us exactly where your allegiances lie. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
To say it's not been in the Pacers this whole playoffs is wild because they have never been losing a series. They have always been in full control of a series. And I think the best kind of picture that encapsulates that, I wish we had it here to show, but it's Halliburton smiling, walking off the court after game 5. He's smiling. So I think that it kind of encapsulates it the best because, yes, they won, and it was a pretty bad loss, but still the Pacers are in control.
We will get to why I think he was smiling in a second, but you brought up this. So fill us in, sir.
Paint points. It was Pacers had 34, Knicks had 60. A big part of this was kind of one, Halliburton wasn't driving. Halliburton only had 5, I believe, field goal attempts, maybe
Yep.
6 or 7.
Yep.
So he was not shooting at all.
Not driving.
He saw no one else was making shots, so he's like, okay, I got to facilitate more. I got to do better. No, that's whenever you, as a superstar, because he is a superstar, superstars have bad games, that happens. You, as a superstar, need to take over the ball game, and you need to score for your team, not try to facilitate more.
Yep.
So he's not taking enough shots. Turner only had 5 points, and it's been frustrating. Nembhard also just has kind of been gone this past
few games, yeah.
and I'll get to something later about him as we talk about something else later. But that I
all
think
kinds of teases here. Look at
I
this.
think-
Look at this breadcrumbs here.
yeah, I think that was just a really big, and then the fouls just weren't getting called for us. I think we were kind of afraid to drive, and then we're like, okay, our 3-point, we're not knocking down 3 points. Whenever in reality, we were doing better than the Knicks were in that, but we just lost so heavily in the paint points. So
Yeah, and then the other big deal was the turnovers.
Mhm.
I believe, if
the
I'm
Knicks,
correct, it
Knicks
was
won by
19.
5, 20 turnovers for the Pacers.
20
Halliburton still turned the ball over 0 times. So
20 turnovers though is just for this Pacers team is absolutely inexcusable.
mhm.
And once again, I don't know, even though the media is going to want to spin it this way, I don't know that it had much to do with the pressure of the Knicks rather than. Let me back up. I'll give credit where credit is due. They were getting in lanes. They were forcing things. But I think that
The Pacers were just so indecisive with what they wanted to do.
and
Like-
it felt frenetic and just the like, you know how like the fast pace is what we're used to, but it felt like a
Slower game.
and it felt like their pace was getting ahead of them, if that
And
makes sense.
I think way too many times did the Pacers let it go down to under 8 seconds in the shot clock. The Pacers are not a team that plays under the shot
No.
clock. They go. They score in the first half of the shot clock, not
Yep.
the second half.
Yep.
If you're getting to a point where TJ McConnell has to throw up a contested 3, which he does not like to do that often,
That's not good.
that means you're not playing the way you should be.
Yep. But the one player who was at the top of the score sheet for the first time in I don't know how long.
For the Pacers, not the whole
Right.
game. Benedict Mathurin, which is what I teased to. Nembhard needs to go. Mathurin should enter the starting lineup because I think Nembhard and Mathurin, honestly, because Nembhard is the defender, but this series it's been Neesmith on Brunson, and
Yep.
I think that has been the matchup. Like that's been what has won Indy. I think 2 or 3 of these games, maybe all of them. So I think that Neesmith needs to stay in there regardless because he can always. I mean, last night he had 16 points. He's been kind of consistent with his points.
Mathurin?
No, Neesmith.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He only had 3 tonight, but I mean, you're gonna have inconsistent games, especially as a role player.
It was not for a lack of trying. Once again,
Exactly.
good open looks just weren't falling.
The rim out, like all
Yep.
of it. Nembhard just didn't look to attempt anything. His defense was off. He's looked off in this game and the last game, and even in game 3, whenever they lost, he was just looking off. I think maybe Coach Thibodeau had a great idea in putting Robinson in. I think maybe you switch it up and you let Mathurin go in. And also, I think Mathurin's he's bigger than Nembhard
Yeah.
is, so I think that matches up better against OG as well, rather than Nembhard trying to play against the smaller Nembhard against the bigger OG. I think that matches up well. I think OG. I mean, If you have Matherin out there, whoever he's guarding or going up against he's gonna get in their head somehow. I think OG is very susceptible to that. I think that could really throw him off. So I really think Matherin is the play. I think you keep Neesmith in there strictly for that hard defense against Brunson. But I think Nembhard just hasn't proved himself. And whenever Matherin didn't prove himself during the regular season, Neesmith stepped in. So why shouldn't Nembhard get that same treatment?
There you go, Rick Carlisle. You heard it here. He said Matherin in the starting lineups, pull Nembhard out. I wonder also if Nembhard gets going on defense and he feels out of sorts because there's not a good quality matchup that he has on defense. He's kind of outmatched in most of his matchups on defense in this series.
Yeah.
Leads me to what I thought was just I couldn't stop laughing about this. And this is what I think that Tyrese Halliburton was smiling / laughing about was this chant from the Knicks fans in Madison Square Garden. They started chanting this with 5 minutes left in the game, I think. Something like that.
It was earlier than that. It was third quarter.
It was early. And, considering what happened in game 1, nothing should be that early. They started saying Knicks in 7 in game 5. Well, it's still in game 5 because the only hope that the Knicks have is forcing not just this game, but another game to try to win the last game in game 7.
Yeah. And I'm not going to.
What a joke. Come on, New York. This literally is the most New York entitled, like completely unaware chant ever. To in game 7, when you haven't even finished game 7 or game 5, sorry, to chant that you're going to win the series 2 games after the fact when you still have to go back to the other team's home court.
And don't forget what happened last year. Indiana smoked you in Madison Square in game 7. So you still have to win 2 more after this.
The Pacers did miss the opportunity to get a 4th closeout game in Madison Square Garden all time.
Maybe not.
All time. Let's hope it doesn't come to that because I still said Pacers in 6. I stand by that.
I'm not going to say too much about this. All that I'll say is if the Pacers win the series, I have something to say for Knicks fans. That's all I'm going to say.
Man, we're just tease. All right. No more teasing. It's time to get to your game-changing moment. What is it?
Surprise, it's going to be something about the refs. And I talked to you about this in the game. Toppin contests. This is kind of late in the game, but I was like, this represents how this series has been going. Toppin contests a 3. Brunson hits it and has space to land. Yes, Toppin was in his space, but he gives him space to land. He lands, and then he feels a little bit of something, and he decides to fall. And they call a foul. And 1-3. Go back to game 4. Halliburton hits a 3, has no space to land, so he lands on Mikal Bridges' feet and falls. And he makes it, but doesn't get it called. No, can't do it. No, he doesn't get it called. Yep, swallow the whistle. So, and this just sums up how the series has been going. It's classic small market versus big market. There's nothing you can do about it. And at that point, you don't have a challenge, so you can't challenge the call or anything like that. It's annoying to me to see that this is being dictated by the refs and moment. And it's not like, yes, the game isn't being dictated by the refs because we'll applaud the refs for that. They're not dictating the game. But they're dictating momentum, which then dictates the game.
Right. They're not making a call at the end of the game to decide the game, but they are making multiple calls throughout the game that shifts the flow of the game.
Right.
Got it.
So that whole thing kind of just sums up not only this game but this series.
All right. NBA. Little PSA. NBA. I'm going to look right in the camera. There's already one small market team that made it to the finals. I think you might have already said this, but you need to let the other small market team in because there is nothing that can save basketball, true basketball in the NBA other than Oklahoma City and Indiana in the finals. Two deep teams that play team basketball. It's old basketball in the finals. That's what you need to save basketball in the NBA and save it from.
You can't say that. SGA does that.
It's true. Well,
He is a free throw merchant if you want to go there.
well, hopefully the Pacers can do something about that. Okay.
But what was I was going to say something.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
If it is Pacers Thunder, it would be in the past two postseasons, including this one and the last one. It would be a test to see if defense wins championships. Number one offense in the past two postseasons versus in the Thunder.
Yep.
So it would be a true test if defense wins championships, and if not, I'd be really happy. But
the Pacers have stepped.
They have.
Most part.
Yep.
Okay. Moment. Brunson came out in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that early, but he did setting the tone because the Pacers have for every other game. Every other game, the Pacers have won the first quarter, regardless of win or loss. They did not do that this time. Brunson came out on fire. He knew he had to, and there you go. Yeah. So then who is your player of the game?
Give him an honorable mention to Siakam because I don't think you have him. I think we both have the same person here.
Oh.
Because he's been Mr. Consistent. Yes, he didn't put up 20-something points, but he put up 15, and it was hard-fought 15. He's always there, reliable. But it's got to be Mathurin.
And the person that I pointed out, only person on the Pacers that has championship experience.
Yes, championship experience. But mine has to be Mathurin. Coming off the bench doing that is crazy. And there's a reason why I said that he should get the start over Nembhard.
So the Knicks won, and you still gave it to a Pacer.
Well, I always do. I mean, if it's not him, then it's Brunson.
I am going to say a sneaky player of the game. I always like to do like a little under the radar. Only scored 6 points, had 6 rebounds, but was kind of a shifter in a lot of things. Who am I going to say? Mitchell Robinson. That's correct.
He had a couple blocks too.
He was a force when he was there, that kind of anchored the team, and also a little nod to your mom, my wife, Alexis, because she pointed out how well. Where'd you go? She pointed out what a baller Robinson is, that he just doesn't even care about anything else, including his haircut. Unlike some of the other guys, heart. It's got to be like the perfect, and like back knot. And come on, seriously, like what are we doing here? Are we spending time in the barbershop, or are we spending time in the gym? What's important here?
Yeah.
All right, I have one final question. That is, my player of the game could have been, who it probably could have been the past few games for the Knicks, and that would be Cat.
Mm-hmm.
So how in the world are the Pacers going to or able to stop the Big Cat in order to win the series here?
I think the exact way that they did it in game 1, 2, and kind of 4. It was a little late in game 4, but they didn't want to get him in foul trouble. Okay. Make him go attack him. He flails so much. Attack him.
He looks like he's in an off-Broadway show, honestly.
Whenever
Like in New York. Like he's just like
whenever Siakam is against him in the early, because Turner has Robinson.
Yep.
Siakam, attack him. Don't try to fade away too much. Yes, that's your thing. Do it. But
Go at him and then
pump, get him in the air and draw a foul within like the first minute or two. That would be so great. And then whenever he's on defense, you know how to sell stuff. It's not only like, yes, we talk about all these floppers and stuff like that. Yes, the Pacers flop. I admit it. Every NBA team does that. But so Siakam, you know how to flop or sell, whatever you want to call it. You know how to
Sell
do
it.
that. So whenever he's flailing and doing all that stuff, maybe, move your head in a little bit. Get smacked so that there actually is contact to say. Don't be afraid to take a hit.
Pulling the old baseball, like lean into the pitch kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. So you got to get him in foul trouble. And that also, if Cat gets past the guards or gets past the perimeter defender, a guard or someone step in like Neesmith did one time in the game. Could have been done so many times. One time in the game, though, Neesmith stepped in, took a charge. That's such an easy way. As long as you're not in a restricted section, just stand there because he cannot slow down worth anything.
Oh no.
He is
He
full
gets going.
steam.
He's going.
So
Yep.
just step in front of him, stand there, and just fall.
I like it. Well, that is all that we have. All right. We'll be back Friday or Saturday with a recap of the last two Fever games, the first two without Caitlin Clark of the season, actually of her whole career. Your mom may even have a little, her own Kevin's conspiracies on the whole situation. So you have to tune in for that one. Then we will return as we're going back to Indiana for Pacers Knicks Game 6.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all Indiana.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.